Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday evening. It is also 9 o'clock. Time for a live stream. But first, a little music. Enjoy. Good evening, Toffee.
We are all the heirs to Scotland, as a nation proudly stand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let a flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. To the world we bid a welcome in 1,000 different ways. We will toast to long lost friendships as we build our better days. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. We are all the heroes of Scotland. We're a nation hand in hand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum.
Good evening, folks. Have to excuse me, my voice well, it's not my voice, it's my throat's a bit congested, which makes me a bit croaky. And sometimes it goes, so you have to be patient with me. I don't have any control over this, by the way, and it's tied up to my present condition, I'm sorry to say. So, not a lot I can do. Yeah, that's what you call gallus. They're really gallus, then. This is my sister. Yeah, gallus. Oh, my sister's like that, you know. Slightly on the crazy side. Everyone has noticed the gloves. Ah, dear. Yeah, she brought me these at Christmas time. I've got another two pair, mind you, that Laura bought me. They were originally bought, believe it or not, this is true, the ones that, oh, and these gloves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 if you don't call, if I don't count repeats, 8 separate. Well, that's what's that's tricky. Too damn many. It's tricky. Anyway, Laura originally bought fingerless gloves for me so that I could type during the winter. I was always complaining that when the winter came, my hands and fingers were always cold, for typing. So Laura first bought me the fingerless gloves. Alison, of course, she had to buy these. She doesn't mean anything by it, of course, it's just her nature. If that's a question to me, I don't get the question. Treble M, where's picking? I don't know. No, right. Right, Streaky Bacon. Good evening to you, sir. Fingerless gloves are ideal for avid nose pickers like me. So anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed myself on Sunday on Scott's Armour's channel. There was a lot of fun over there. That was had me laughing a lot. That was quite good. Enjoyed that. And I'd never seen that fella Campbell. I'd never seen him before. It's quite ridiculous, really. No doubt they've got other people like that. It's really sad, to be honest. I think it's sad. He must be terribly confused in the head. Oh, what's this toffee say? I got a knock at my door earlier, and it was neighbour with one of my dogs. The lunatic launched himself over the fence into next door's yard. There must have been something there that was encouraging him to do that. Is it the neighbour? Or was it something else? I take it your dogs are all right, Toffee. You've still got them all. Doing all right with them. So what was he? Was he complaining that your dog had done this, or was he bringing the dog back, or what? I've got one of my neighbours next door has got 2 cats. Oh, there's Lorraine Jackson. Good evening, Lorraine. You noticed I was on tonight. What was I saying? Yeah, I was asking about your dogs. I hope they're okay. I'm sure they are. No, he thought it was funny. Right. I let him out for a wee, and one of them decided to jump the fence. I probably saw a squirrel. Yeah. Well, my neighbour's got two cats, right, across that way. And my neighbour down the stairs, well, he's not so happy with that because if you know anything about cats, folks, cats like to pick the piece of territory they're going to use as a toilet. And of course, they want to come in here and use some of our back garden as their toilet. And my neighbour down the stairs doesn't like that, of course. Tricky woo. Stupid people around here like to chain their dogs in the backyard where they can inevitably gang themselves. I am the neighbourhood dog saver. There's somebody up the street here does this. Don't know who it is. Ties the dog up. And of course, the poor thing, it just does nothing but bark. Constant barking. And from the other sounds that you can hear, it, I imagine that this poor dog is not just running around in circles, but it's jumping up and down and it's barking and it's excited or it's distressed, more like. What can you do? You go up there and saying that you're going to get told to mind your own effing business. It's nothing to do with you. Or something even more vile than that. Good evening, Budgie. But my neighbour down the stairs has got this constant battle on with the cats next door, trying to keep them from using our garden. It's not a garden; it's a piece of grass. It's a toilet, and he's always trying to come up with ways to discourage that. Good evening, my dear. I knew you wouldn't be far behind. Do you have a bit of a cold? You're asking. I think I could have, but I think more likely, and I don't like to say it, but I think my cough is coming back. The cough that I used to have. Or it could be touch of the cold, the cold. And it's my imagination that's telling me otherwise, but I don't think so. My cough's coming back. My voice is getting a bit squeaky again. And I've got a runny nose. But I'll soon know on Thursday when I go whether it's my imagination or it's not. Otherwise, I feel fine, except for the leg. I was out today. RSPCA. Do they still exist, Toffee? They've never really been much use for the protection of animals, I don't think. They've got lots of power and they never use it. Budgie's saying, I heard that all the RSPCA donations go to England. Not a penny goes to Scotland or Wales. I couldn't comment either way on that one, Budgie. There used to be years ago when I was growing up, and I mean growing up, there used to be a surgery here, permanently staffed as well. That's long gone, of course. Never see them or hear of them. Well, thanks, Robert, for that. You'll no doubt hear. I will no doubt tell you what happens or what's said. So I think they get away with a lot of stuff now, that charity. I don't think they're very active at all. As I say, the surgery they once had here, long, long gone. I don't even know where there is one anymore. Certainly not around here. So, it's all about very expensive veterinarians around here. I'm talking about Inverclyde. My sister Alison is paying over £300 for injections for her dog, Barney. He's got arthritis, apparently. I think you're right, Toffee. It's like most charities, a money-making scheme. Yeah, because not too many years ago, there was a man and a woman in the town trying to get people to sign up for direct debits to support this other charity for cats, just cats alone. That attracted me, of course. Went over to see who it was and what they were all about. But this was a private charity. And they weren't looking for a donation. They didn't have cans for donations or anything. No. No, they were only looking for you to do a bank order for them. They weren't interested in anything else. They never got it from me, of course. I told them politely, no. I can't even remember what their name was. Because it's big money. Charities are big money. That's what I get annoyed about, if you remember. I think I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one that remembers the fact that we were, Tony Blair was allowing the lottery, and that would put an end to all these people on the streets with their cans rattling, looking for money for various charities. That's how one of the ways he tried to sell that. Tricky Woo's saying all those millions donated for dirt poor, uh, oh yeah, Haitians after the quake. Clinton kept it all. Only donating I do, says Wookie. Wookie. Tricky Woo. Straight to a white person in hand, regardless of what they need it for. Save our Toffee Society. Streaky bacon. Tricky Woo sounds about right. Not for them twats. I think you're right, Toffee. I think we need to save our toffee and our chocolate before it's any more ruined. I was listening, Toffee's asking, have I heard about the Sam Melia case? Poor guy from Patriotic Alternative. Well, oddly enough, you bring that up, Toffee. I was listening to the Woodlander today talk about it, and I hadn't heard anything about it. I'd never heard of it. And he was talking about it. And of course, it's quite disgraceful. Quite disgraceful that the stickers that he was making, or I don't even know. Woodlander never said was he giving them away or what he was doing with them, but nevertheless, there was nothing uh, illegal about them. There was no law breaking going on in what was the wording of what was on these stickers. We were all well within the law. Uh, but yet he got convicted. And that's where we are in this country. We don't have anything that would approach justice. We just don't. And I've always argued privately, I don't think I've ever said it on the channel, but once you allow this nonsense, and I personally have always regarded it as nonsense, once you let this nonsense of hate speech in any level in society, wherever it seeps in, you're going to go down the tubes eventually. Because for me, it's a nonsense. To me, there is no such a thing as hate speech. And anything else that you might say in public either through the press or through the written word or through speech, is already well covered by the existing laws. So there was never any need for anything more to cover any bad things that you might say about someone or something that could be taken in that way. They were all well covered. Good evening, David William, son of Lamb. So that's where it started. But again, we had no way of resisting that either. But if you watch it, how it started, it all started back in Germany. That's where it first started. It first made its ugly appearance, so-called hate speech. And then it spread itself through the rest of Europe, slowly but surely, and ended up here. But to me, it's nonsense. I would scrap the whole thing because you could twist almost anything and say you're offended. So obviously, I'm against it, against the whole idea of it. And of course, we've got even worse up here in Scotland. Yeah, but the thing they do, Toffee, you're saying to Armsley is the nearest nick to him. It's full of Asian friends. But that's not what they do. What they tend to do is they tend to put people far from their home so that relatives can't visit them. Especially if they're in for any length of time, that's what happens. They get put to somewhere awkward and difficult to get to. So I'd be surprised if he gets put in somewhere that is near at hand, shall we say. So yeah, that's I have just caught up with that news, Toffee. But thanks for bringing it up because so-called hate speeches is just a nonsense to me. It's completely subjective, as most of these things are, deliberately so, deliberately ambiguous, completely subjective, so that anyone can be trapped for anything. It's all about shutting down opposition. That's all it's about. That's all it's ever been about. But this is the problem, Robert. You're right in what you say. You should. You'd think a lawyer of a decent standard could annihilate any of these cases, but not when the judge's impartiality ceases to exist. The whole legal system is saturated with this. It really is. It's going to get to the point where there will be no opposition because you will not be able to say anything. You're absolutely right, Streaky. Like every institution in the West, he says, it has been taken over by these Bolsheviks. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely, and that's where it started. It started in Germany, 1945, and has worked its way across Europe. Tricky woo, hate speech, racist, all just weaponized English nonsense words. Of course it is. That's what I say. It's completely subjective. And they can make it spin any way they like and do constantly. Yeah, they'll put you on a list. Yeah, they'll put you on a list, Toffee, if you're not already on one. Streaky Bacon, my name is Defo, going to bring up red flags for requesting a visit to him. Of course, anyone and everyone will be flagged, noted, put on a list, just the same as I'm on a list. For different reasons, of course. I had the temerity to start a political party. Streaky says it all. Well, not all, but he says a good deal when he says that. And we've all seen this happen many times. Yeah, but we're in the times of the super rich. They run everything. When the rule of law breaks down, says son of alarm, and there is no justice seen to be done, leaves only one solution, I'm afraid. Yeah, it does. Again, Streaky, I'm inclined to go with what you're saying. It's quite possible they won't let you in to see them. just for spite. And of course, Rory is reminding us it was the jury that convicted Sam, not the judge. They were unanimous in their verdict. And again, this is part of what's wrong with the country. So many people are infected by this stuff. Uh, why does that not surprise me, Toffee? Oh, I'm definitely already on a list, John. I'm a pretty well known evil right wing person in Liverpool. Stricky's asking me, are any thoughts on the farmers and the other protests in Europe and the lack of media reporting? Well, if you start at the end of your question, that's the standard procedure now. They just don't report on things like that because they're living in the past. There's an advantage at the moment for them to live in the past, an advantage to us who are not in the past. Now, what I mean by that is for the people, and it's still a majority, who get their news and information via television and newspapers, they will not be informed about anything unless it's completely slanted against the truth, which it always is. So if they don't do that, what they now do is they just don't bother reporting at all. So if you're somebody like my auntie, say, you won't know about anything like that because she gets her information from television and newspapers. Although her daughter is forever yakking in her ear. But she represents my auntie too many people. So from that point of view, you're right. Nothing will be reported in the papers or on the telly unless it's twisted and distorted. But obviously, what they are complaining about, the farmers and the other protesters, well, I would be in favour of their side. And I've given this example out before. The last time human beings, and it was Europeans by and large, sad to say, who decided to exterminate animals, it was done in North America to the bison or the buffalo, if you prefer. It was reckoned to be over 60 million of these creatures. And the trouble was, of course, that their normal seasonal cycle meant that they would navigate themselves from Canada down through the center of the USA to get themselves away from Canada's winter, and they would spend the summertime in the USA on the plains of the Central Plains of America. But that got in the way with the gold discoveries and the building of railroads. So they had to be eliminated, and that's how they did it. They paid people to go out and kill them. Now, my point in bringing this up is, how does that relate to the farmers? Well, those buffalo have never come back. They'll never get to come back. There are only a small number of them left. And if we start doing that to our domesticated animals, such as cows and pigs and sheep, it'll be a tragic calamity that human beings will never recover from if we allow them, these crazy globalist folk, to do this, to talk other people into doing it for them. Because once you get rid of something, you can't get it back. We've still got buffalo in America. I know that, a couple of million. Well, that's nothing. We need the livestock we've got because most of us are still meat eaters, which is the other nonsense, of course, they want to spread along with this. If we get rid of the animals, get everybody to be so-called vegetarian, or better still, eating the insects, and that'll be great. Yeah, it'll be great for them and terrible for us, because it won't apply to them, never does. So yes, obviously I'm appalled and I'm on the side of the farmers. But what really needs to happen in Europe, and I think it will eventually happen, it's not happening fast enough for me. I think the EU needs to go away. It needs to disappear into the history. And that can only happen when individual countries, the people in them, get into power politicians who will do the bidding of the people and throw off this unnecessary bureaucratic nonsense called the EU. I mean, all of them are dictators. I mean, none of them are elected, for goodness sake. I just don't get why people think this is a good idea, this EU. And the truth of the matter is, and I include myself when I say this, I don't know any of them. I don't know their names, don't know where they come from. I'm not interested in them, of course. And I think the whole thing should just disappear, should be dismantled as soon as possible. So that's my thoughts on it. And I can't see farmers going along with it either. Although farmers don't regard the livestock as pets, they don't. Not quite in a way that you and I do. But I can't see them willy-nilly allowing their livestock to be eliminated. because some bureaucrat sent a couple of thugs to the farm to eliminate the livestock. I just don't see farmers standing by idly and do nothing about that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, rather. I hope they do continue to fight and stand up and don't allow it. Because as I say, once these animals are gone, they're gone. They'll never come back. They'll keep some, of course, because our would-be masters of the universe will want their fill at steaks. They're just not for us. So they will be kept. And of course, that will mean the price will be prohibitive to people like you and I, which is the whole idea. Oh, there's Mousecat back. Good evening, Mousecat. Yeah, if I had my way, Streaky, if I had my way, I'd just sweep away the whole EU bureaucracy because it's unnecessary. It's just a tax raising organization that employs people who are unelected, who are unaccountable. So yeah, it needs to go. And I'd get rid of it as soon as I could if I had the power. Tricky Woo says Thomas Sheridan warned that the Irish multimillionaire farmers were jumping on the farmer protest bandwagon to grift. Mouse is saying, I had exactly the same thought process with regard to information on the farmers a couple of days back, minus the bit about the bison, of course. I bring up the bit about the bison, Mouse, because it's, in terms of history, it's pretty recent that these creatures were slaughtered in the way they were. But it is a good example of what mankind did through greed for gold and money. And it's always a part of the American West history that is gently stepped over. But it's a warning. And we've got more efficient ways now of killing animals. I don't think they have, Budgie. I don't think they've been called for right yet. The farmers have been called. Have the farmers been called far right? He's asking. I don't think they have. As you say, it'll come around. Robert is informing us a judge is allowed to direct a jury in cases of obvious innocence, not for guilt, though. I couldn't comment on that, Robert, to be honest with you. I think you're right, Bacon. This is the way I see it. I agree with you. The legacy media is thankfully dying, and now they want us not to see the truth online. So the clampdown on alternative media, they are too late. Absolutely, they are. There are billions aware of these globalist plans now. And the other thing is, if you've got one of these, if you get one of these phones, and most people have, news and information just spreads like wildfire, faster than wildfire, actually. So that makes it even more difficult for them to try and control information. They go on trying, but they're slowly losing the battle because slowly but surely people are coming to investigate what things like YouTube is all about or what the internet is all about. Well, there you go. The German parliament, there's a good one, said the farmers were influenced by the far right. And how did they do that? Well, obviously, the far right, the people who have that mindset, they dressed up as cows, they went onto the farmland and they whispered quietly into the farmers' ears. I mean, they come out with this drivel, this kind of drivel all the time. What are you saying there, Mouse? Then they will say, uh, reweld the areas and not allow people onto these sanctuary countryside parks. Could they actually do that? How can a government say to a member of the public, you can't go there if the farmer's saying it's okay, you can come here? I'm not sure about that one, but I get the point you're making, though. Well, of course they do, Streaky. A lot of the EU leaders come from a certain tribe. Yeah, because that certain tribe love, adore monopolies. That's kind of businesses they like. Precedent has been set now. No fighting back against the erosion of our freedom from any judge now. No, no, that's gone. Robert, you're quite right. You're quite right. Streaky, 200,000 cows in Ireland. A fifth of the beefy bastards, I think. I wouldn't know, Streaky, to be honest. Yeah, the number of livestock. Any barrier between the people and power should not be there. No, because we are the power. We should be the power, are the power. We just tend to forget about that. The elite, no. Budgie, the elite have their own farms, organic and chemical free, of course. Well, I'm not going to argue. I expect you're right. Why wouldn't you? You won't see them or their missus, if they have one, down at Tesco picking up packaged food. Good evening, Special K. Good evening, Anglo-Saxon. Nice to see you both here, along with everyone else, of course. Oh yeah, as it started then, David, heard yesterday they were calling the Irish farmers far right. Jeez. If it weren't so serious, it'd be hilarious, tell you. I think that's quite obvious now, Tricky Woo. Yeah, they want the entire world to themselves, while we have to live amongst feral diversity. Good point. Stricky, did you see Tucker Carlson is in Moscow to interview Putin? Well, I know he's in Russia, and I know he'll be in Moscow, of course. Uh, Freaking US media are having kittens. That's for sure. I don't know if he's got an interview lined up with Putin. Be very disappointing if he comes back from Russia without an interview, though. I can't see. I can't really see him getting refused. Anglo, Patton was right. We were fighting the wrong enemy in World War II. Thoughts, he's asking. I've often agreed with that. That's why the general didn't last too much longer after he said things like that. Once it's thankfully he was writing regularly to his good lady wife. That's how we know about these things. Because he committed these thoughts, or not all of them, but some of the more important ones, to paper when he was writing to his wife. Uh, there's lots of speculation, of course, what might have happened had Patton survived that assassination attempt, and what might have happened when he came home to the USA. And it is interesting to ponder it. And he said that remark apparently was made after he he saw what was going on with the Red Army. And some of the accounts that I've heard and read over the years are just beyond belief, really. If I put some of these reports into a piece of fiction, uh, people would not believe it. It's so horrific, some of the things that were done by the Red Army. Under Stalin's orders, of course. Dreadful. That's why they shot down that Canadian man, because his wife was a German refugee. Again, a lot of people don't understand that Eastern Europe was filled with a lot of ancestral Germans who had gone there, who were farmers who had gone there for a better life, over 100 years or so ago. Talking about from count that time from Second World War. And when the Red Army started advancing westward, they started following the German army westward to escape. And that's where these horrific accounts come from. These men and women who were on the run from their own homes because of what was going on, what was allowed to go on. That's the thing. These things were allowed to happen. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. David, what are you saying? They are in the process of rewilding parts of the Argyll forest. Open season on deer and are supposedly reintroducing Highland cattle, getting money for various EU incentives, if I remember rightly. I can believe that about the deer. There was many years ago there was talk about reintroducing the bears to the forests. Oh, there's DJ. Good evening, DJ. Nice to see you. I was just saying a wee bit earlier how much laughing I did on Sunday. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. You'll never see him there, Streaky. If I seen that twat Klaus Schwab at the Morrison's reduced counter, I would give him a piece of my mind. Yeah, well, to see you're not likely ever to see him there. That's for sure. Bass, good evening. Streaky. Perhaps he will come. Tucker he's talking about, of course. Perhaps he will come back with a T-shirt saying, "I went to Russia to interview Putin, and all I got was his lousy T-shirt." As far as I know, he hasn't done an interview with Putin. But I cannot. Oh, Mark Felton covered it, did he? Well, you have some idea of what I'm talking about then, Anglo. Some of what went on was just beyond words. And again, they're showing their true colours with what's going on in the Gaza. It was much the same behaviour. Putin was our guy, says Anglo. Quite possibly. That's very true. That's very true. Eisenhower, however, he wanted to leave them out in a field, the prisoner of war, the German prisoners of war, which he did for over a year. A million men died, apparently. Wonder why that was. Patton ideal march could maybe a better answer than the long march we have had to deal with for decades here. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, Robert is here. He just arrived shortly ago. There he is there. Resisting the lies. DJ. Joe and I felt compelled earlier to clip No Chance and his impersonation and fire it up on my channel. Last half hour was a great laugh. I haven't had such a good laugh for a long time. Very good. Very good indeed. So yeah, it would be a huge disappointment to many people, millions of people, I would think, if Tucker doesn't get to do this interview with Putin. I'm sure he will. I'm sure Putin's got nothing to worry about with Tucker Carlson. He's dealt with much tougher people than that. If and when it happens, it will be very interesting to listen to. I am led to believe that Putin can speak English. And if that's correct, it will make it even more interesting if he uses it in the interview. Oh, I absolutely can, says Special K. So there you go. That will make an interview. That will. I knew he spoke German, Streaky, because he's actually lived in Germany. Yo, well, probably East Germany as it used to be. Wasn't sure about the English though. Well, that's great to hear. So yeah, it'll be something else. Of course, Tucker will get everything and the kitchen sink thrown at him for doing this, for going to Russia. Of course, Scott Ritter has the same treatment, and I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, will know who Scott Ritter is. He gets that flack all the time because he does his best to tell it as it is. And I've said before, I'll say again, I like what he now says about that these Israelis have lost this illusion of superiority, of having some special connection to God. I mean, that's hubris for you. I've got a special relationship to God. Well, if there was a special relationship between God and I, it would be God that would instigate the special relationship, not me. So, but that's something that needs to be dissolved. This special relationship that's been claimed for the last 2,000 years. It has to go. It was believe it or not, folks, on a slightly more serious note, it was one of the things that when I was a young man, it put me off Christianity. I couldn't understand how that fitted in. Because in my mind, if God is all that we know about, all knowing, all seeing, all hearing, if God is all of that and more, how could that same entity have a favourite human being? Group of human beings, that is. How could that be? That never made any sense to me. If we're all the same in God's eyes and we're all made the same, excuse me, if we are all made in the image of God, then how can any group say that they are one better than any other group that exists? That's actually speaking against what we believe that God has said in his own words. So it always confused me, always unsettled me. How can this be? How can they be special if we're all the same in God's eyes? Could never figure that out. Of course, obviously, being a bit older, I know better. It has, Ludwig. It has contributed to a horrible arrogance. And, be, and because of what's happening now, in Gaza, that position can be no longer be held. They are showing the whole world exactly what they're capable of. I think that's more to the point, Tricky Woo. So this special connection can never be used again, in my book, and we should never allow them to use it, because it's like Tricky Woo's saying, that's who they're special to. If they're special to anyone, would be that entity. And you hear Scott Ritter say this often now when he's on about this special relationship, so called. Trying to get comfy here. As I say now, because of mobile phones and the internet, the whole world can see for themselves what they're capable of, what they're prepared to do, how far they're prepared to go. And they cannot deny it. They don't deny it. They're showing it off. Most of these videos apparently are getting put up by the soldiers themselves. I don't see how or where they can go from here now. And there are, of course, far too many Palestinian folk for them to be able to get enough bullets to do what they claim they want to do. It's a great disappointment, of course, that on the surface it would appear that no other country's doing anything to step in and stop it. Changing subject here. How is the weather over at our end? It's actually a beautiful day here today. Sun was shining, virtually no wind, cold certainly. Uh, Otherwise, lovely. Great walking day if you were able to walk. It's an interesting question, Special K. I wonder why they went with Israel instead of Judea. I don't know. I can't answer that. So anyway, not only are they pulling themselves down, they're pulling the USA down along with them. Weather reports are coming in. We have weather all over the country. Clear and cool here, says Special K. Heavy fog in the morning the last week or so. Very good, Robert. it's, an, it's an opportunity for Iran to examine how weak the West is too, and how stupid the strategists to send navy ships to that bottleneck. Yeah, how does it make sense? DJ had landslides around Inverness yesterday and early this morning. Even I was taken aback by the rainfall, to be honest, and I am based on red pill, the climate that well, the weather is the weather, whatever it is. It's got nothing to do with what they say it is. The weather's just the weather. Yeah, it's amazing what's happening. Oh, David, it's always raining on the west coast. Raining a lot here. West coast last few days, it says David. But it is a rainforest. Temps plummeting this evening and dry. Well, it hasn't rained on this side of the Clyde. I can tell you that, David. Not today, it hasn't. It was cold, certainly, yes. Uh, I was very unsteady on my feet today when I was out. I had my son with me for insurance. Blaming it on the rain. I had my son with me just in the off chance that I went down, which I didn't. But I was pretty wobbly. But I haven't been out for such a long time, and that's part of the problem. I'm changing the subject, you see. Uh, oh, there's William. Good evening, inmates. Bloody freezing here. Rolling global warming, says William. All freak weather, however, can be attributed to a natural weather phenomenon called El Nino, reported by CNN, BBC, etc. It's a real thing, explains the warm sea temperatures during summer and the storms now. Yes, I remember that from school days, DJ. Uh, so, Special K is saying if you're interested in climate science, I recommend a channel called Young Tuition. Young. Love my snowdrop, says William. Well, I won't be out tomorrow, that's for sure. And I'm out Thursday to the hospital. There you go. You've been sussed, William. William's got you pegged. William works for HARP and controls the weather system up there. Nothing would surprise me, Toffee. So anyway, I get quite upset when I start thinking too deeply about what's going on in Gaza. Uh, it depends on how. It depends really, to be honest, what happens on Thursday. That's the truth of it. If I receive news from my doctor, my specialist doctor, uh, it depends on what they say to me, to be honest. I don't know. The thing is, folks, if you've got lung cancer, it never goes away. It's always there. So it's not going away. The only question that needs to be answered, really, is it doing what the doctors want it to do, or is it doing what it does naturally? Uh, so I don't know. I wish I could give you a firmer answer than that. Because I don't know if I get really, really bad news, I don't know how I'm going to take it. And what I don't want is I don't want to be coming on here and spreading my doom and gloom all over the place. I don't think I'll ever do more than 2 live streams a week from here on in. I think that's pretty certain. Because I just don't have the energy that I once had. Thank you, DJ. Stricky, looking at your world-weary face, you have just reminded me that Steptoe & Son was is on TV in 20 minutes. Thanks a lot. Ah, dear. Thanks a lot. Oh, I'll do my best to stay positive because what else could you do? I keep telling them I've got things that I need to do, things that I want to do. I don't have time for dying at this point. Well, that's nice, Toffee. A problem shared is a problem halved. That's an oldie and a good way. Don't feel like you'd be spreading doom and gloom. We're a community here and we care. I know that, Toffee, I know that. I think about that, believe it or not, when I'm not on. And it means a lot. It does. It does. I'll probably put, I'll probably set one up uh, anyway. Whether I come on Friday and do 2 hours or not is another thing. Um, uh, I can come on and see how long I last. It depends on, as I say, it depends on many other factors, not just what happens on Thursday. But one thing is for sure, I'm going to have to do my best to get out of the house more often, to get steadier on my feet. That's for sure. I was quite shocked today at how unsteady I was. And that was with pretty decent weather on my side. Streaky, it would be effing mint to meet up in the summer. I love to see Scotland when I'm away, but I'm wary of staying Scottish forever, like Sturgeon says, happens to visitors. Very good. Very good, Streaky. Yeah, we will need to try and do something, you know, one way or the other. Regardless of anything that happens to me, we need to do something to get together. Even if you come to the town and we can have a get together around the back of my house, if not somewhere else. But yeah, we'll definitely try and do something. I tried to. I began the process, as you know, and it kind of fizzled out. Uh, DJ, you should do an entire stream reacting to Graham Campbell videos, John. I'll sort you right out. So I assume that he's got a channel. Oh, put your health first, Sunbeam. I'm doing that, Anglo. I put my health first. That's why I've said to myself, and I've said to you folks many times now, there's no way I can go back to doing 3 a week. That's just, I don't have the energy for that. Oh, I definitely want, is that his name? Clive, right? Okay. I didn't know that. If you weren't over there on Sunday at Scott's Armour, we, no chance and I were talking about the I come up with this idea about doing, confronting these people directly by asking them specific questions, right? And then no chance came up with this. Oh, I've got camera gear. We could do street interviews, which I thought was brilliant. So we were talking about this at the end, towards the end of the stream, this idea that him and I would go out, probably here or elsewhere, Paisley or Glasgow, it doesn't matter, and do this, confront people with people like that Campbell, and I think it could be a lot of fun. So I'll definitely take him up on it. So yeah, definitely DJ, I will take him up on it. If he's got a gear, that's brilliant. That means I don't have to put myself out for it. You have to get it. No, I've still got the blood clot, Rory. That's part of the problem. It's I take blood thinners, of course, but they've already told me from the word go that I might never get rid of this blood clot. I might always have it. Well, if that's all I've got to worry me, then I don't have a lot to worry me. That's the way I see it, the blood clot side of things. Because if I take 2 paracetamols and I'm allowed to take 2 at a time, it gets rid of the pain. So I don't have the pain. And so long as I don't have the pain, I can walk. And I'm allowed to take 4 doses of this in a 24-hour cycle. So I'm quite content with the medical approach to the blood clot. I hope I don't have it forever. Sometimes it seems to go down, and other times it seems not to go down. If I'm tired at night, it'll lately be getting swollen again because time's getting on. Yeah, it's getting swollen again. That happens at night. But that's okay because I'm not going anywhere. So I don't see it as a problem. But thanks for asking. I appreciate that. And the other thing is, of course, there is nowhere to go in this town. So it's not as though I'm missing out on a lot of social life, because I'm not. I've got someone who is going to come in and help me with chess tournament this year. So once I get started in that direction, then I'll be out and about a bit more often, and that'll be good for the blood clot. And as I say, if that's the worst thing I've got to deal with, then that's fine. The lung thing, well, the lung thing doesn't cause any pain. I don't have any pain here. The cough, as you all know, has gone, but it's seeping back in again. That concerns me. I'll know better on Thursday what they say about that. Otherwise, there's no pain. The chemo kept it contained. It's still contained in the lung. And so long as that continues, there's no real possibility of a secondary cancer, which is the one that usually kills you. The secondary one, not the primary. So that's how it all ties in. So the leg isn't so much of a problem. It does give me pain. But as I say, I could deal with that. I never join in the movie review. Not a film buff, to be honest, says Gavin. That's fine, Gavin. Taking action is good, John, says Bass. Had a positive reaction in my life dealing addictions. In my life, dealing addictions. Yeah, you always feel better if you can see yourself doing something, moving forward, if there's a sense of forward movement in some way. I know that's how I feel. Well, that's where we started with it, Sriki. Was this man Gamble? They brought that was DJ put up various clips he had, and I was just as bad as everyone else. I was just having a lot of fun with it. But this idea struck me, on a different level, a more serious level. These people they must be terribly confused in their mind. They must be. But I thought it could be an interesting exercise, if nothing else, if we could go on. I've heard that, Anglo. Aspirin is good for thinning the blood. Well, I've got these blood thinning pills that they give me, which means I don't have to buy the aspirin. But Dovey, John talked to some purple-haired lefty through a megaphone in Paisley Town Centre. Would be quality content. Oh. William says I'd pay good money to see that one. Well, when No Chance gets in touch with me, we'll get something sorted out. He's got the car, he's got the equipment, he tells me. Uh, and we can go out and we can see what response we get. It could, as I say, be really funny. He and I would need to sit down and talk about how we're going to do the thing, of course. But that can be done over the internet on a private chat so that we become together, you know, but the whole thing's laid out in front of us. I haven't heard, William. I haven't heard from Eki. So I don't know. I don't know. I saw that 2001 is done very well. It's got 230 or so views at the moment. Well, I was asking, could it be something available on YouTube? Toffee's not going to let this one go. Graham Campbell is just as Scottish as Nicola Sturgeon. Graham Campbell is just as Scottish as Nicola Sturgeon is Russian. Streaky. Viagra is good for thinning blood. You get a bonus. Oddly enough, Streaky, without blowing my own ego here, in that direction, I don't actually need Viagra, believe it or not. Well, you did say that, William. That was a great review. Drink went down the wrong way. That's why I'm coughing. Uh, well, that's where we are with that. I had a look. I think it's 230. And what I was telling my son was the fact that, to my great surprise, we spent a lot of time just talking about those opening scenes with the apes, which was quite amazing. Yeah, that's for sure. God said some wasn't on the panel. Anyway, what you saying? I saw Graham Campbell attacking Christian preachers along with the alphabet mafia. It was a provocateur scenario. I hope the preachers stood up to him. That was I mean, to be honest, guys, because I didn't know this person at all, I was really quite shocked at the English accent. But let's be honest, being in the arms of a woman feels like dying at any age. It's very poetic. Anglo, I believe I have Scottish and Irish coursing through my veins. Don't tell anyone. He loves a nan or two. I believe he does. I've heard him say that. William, I have heard him say that. And he's Asda deals, yeah. Anyway, it's getting near time for closing up shop, folks. But yeah, I certainly won't forget the the idea of doing that stream with no chance. Oh, he's joining you, is he? Bart Sabrell. On a serious note, Graham Campbell is on SNP Glasgow Councillor, runs the SNP Socialist movement, is a black supremacist, campaigned to get Glasgow to have a Stephen Lawrence Day, despite Chris Donald. I'm pleased to hear that, Budgie. The preachers were fantastic. They knew it was a satanic psyop. Good for them. And they went on. Good for them. I'll bet they went on. Thanks for that, DJ. As I say, I know nothing about this creature. There seems to be, if you're interested in looking out for this, folks, not just DJ here, but if you see one of these guys or gals like this Campbell character, and that one that's the so-called poet, if you see them now in that position, and the way they behave and the way they speak and their attitudes, their body language, all of that stuff, and if you can get hold of some footage before they get these positions, I guarantee you will see a very, very different kind of individual. 8 IPA ales in Asda for a fiver. Me ducks, says Toffee. Well, you take care as well, Bass. Yep, may he rest in peace, poor lad. Never got a chance to live. Pathetic. You're talking about the sense of shares in Asda. DJ is saying Glasgow Council recognise an annual Stephen Lawrence Day because of him. The council that represent a city where the first racially motivated murder took place. It's vile. Now again, I didn't know that, DJ. So thanks for telling me. I didn't know they celebrated that, Stephen Lawrence. But you say it's a globalist plan. Hence even pretending to be a Rastafarian. He could well be right, but yeah, I wouldn't argue with you on that, to be honest. It's been a pleasure. We'll need to wait for Eki. Very good. Did they? Anglo saying, made his mum a member of the House of Lords? Oh, Jesus. Still, I don't believe you, but that's just outrageous. That's just outrageous. TJ. No, I know you didn't know. No, I was just saying we like to mock him because he's a fanny. But he is equally vile. Absolutely. People like him are dangerous. Yeah, they are dangerous. In the words of Steve Cray, it's 11 o'clock, John. Yeah, I know. Oh, that's awful. Chris Dorrell's mum had to move away for her own safety. Her family have little contact with her. Shameful. That's dreadful. That is. That's just dreadful. Again, here, you're all telling me stuff I don't know. Martin Luther King is another fake. His name is Michael King, not a doctor or Martin or Luther. Worth looking into. Oh, God, that's awful. What a world we're forced to live in. I'll set up a stream for Friday night, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. I'm not saying I'll be on for 2 hours. I don't know. Depends on the old energy levels. Didn't want the bridge in Glasgow named after Chris in case of suicides, etc. Really? Terrible. It's just terrible. Toffee's saying one of them converted to Christianity recently in jail, trying to make out he's reformed to get early release. Yeah, a lot of that was done through the centuries by the tribe. Most of it was fake, of course. But never mind. Okay, folks, I should be on Friday, 9 o'clock, and we'll see how long I last. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the week. If you get a bit of weather, get outside, go for a short walk, get some fresh air, etc. Look after yourself, and I'll speak soon. But in the meantime, adios, au revoir, cheerio, and for the moment, goodbye for now. Enjoy the music. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.
Silently the snow falls, paints a winter scene, swiftly spreads the dark rim, hides the fading autumn green. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, conjure friendships dear to me. Lightly now the breeze flows, disturbing more than just the leaves. But life's much more
Thank you, Trevor.
than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Patiently the love grows, lifts the weary heart. Gently now she holds me, melts two worlds once apart. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, usher dreams of you and me. Softly then the breeze blows, disturbing more than just the trees.
All together now.
But love's much more
So much more
than we can know.
than we can ever possibly know.
We are one small glow,
But an important glow
an eternal flow. Melodies of long ago, songs of innocence, harmonies to soothe the soul, past of consequence. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, awakening joys of you and me. Silently the snow falls, bringing winter symphony.
all together now.
But we're much more
So much more
than we can
than we
know.
can ever possibly know.
We are one small glow,
But a very important glow
an eternal flow. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow, an eternal flow.
we are all much more. So take care, folks, and I'll speak to you all real soon. And thanks for being here tonight. As always, pleasure to have your company, hear your comments, get your reaction. Take care.